All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this recent bit of propaganda from the Epoch Times. Now, for those who don't know what the Epoch Times is, the Epoch Times is a conservative-ish, conspiracy theory-minded news organization that is funded by Chinese interests, Chinese nationalistic interests. So I say that so that you know where the money's coming from, and you also know that I don't like them. I'm going to poison that well right now. And now that I've poisoned that well, let's get into the fan art section. So, the very first piece of fan art we have here is me desperately trying to click to it fast enough, but I'm not fast enough. This one is from Fluffy B1. Suris does a little bit of a workout, so have an inspiring poster of yourself. You can do it. Buns of steel and thighs of iron. Come join me for my workout. You can do it. Show your moves. Sweat it out. This actually ended up becoming a PFP for me on Twitter for a little bit because of a contest that was had last subathon. Speaking of last subathon, we are currently in a subathon right now, and there are workout goals on this subathon as well. I'll have to do a pretty strenuous workout at the end of the stream for the time that has been gained so far. But the next one we have here is from Blue Cat Goblin Suris. I think Cheshire has doomed the entire stream with her goblins. The next one we have, and the last one we have here, is from Jasa. First piece of fan art. All right, so my creativity is in making characters through Hero Forge. I made a cat slime Suris with a really creepy face. That tail also looks almost like it's coming out of the eye, too. Hero Forge is wild sometimes. As always, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that all said, let's go ahead and get right into the topic today. This one, like I said, comes to us courtesy of the Epoch Times. It's called Gender Transformation, The Untold Realities. It's an official trailer. Let's go ahead and cut off our background music and just focus on this.
Do you think you'd be happier as a boy?
My mom would never allow it.
God, that's fucking terrifying. That's terrifying. You just have, like, that imagery in the background. Do you think you'd be happier as a boy? And then suddenly they've got the knife there as if that's the very first thing that happens when somebody transitions. Do you know how many people haven't actually had a gender-affirming surgery and yet pass completely? Do you know how many people that is? Quite a lot, actually. Quite a lot. Sarah Trigger says, LOL, Falun Gong. Yup. Yup. The Falun Gong is the organization that funds the Epoch Times.
It's abuse.
Oh, you can't hear me cry. See my dreams all die.
We keep on flashing back to that surgery imagery because, you know, being trans means surgery automatically for every trans person ever.
From where you're standing on your own.
Anybody who's gone through this, it's the same thing.
Sweetie, please.
No. I need you to leave.
on.
Evie, no.
Where are you getting this from?
We're just masquerading.
When did parents become enemy number?
Hold on. Who's this?
Masquerading.
Person saying that they're just masquerading. Walt Heyer, author / detransitioner. Where do I know that name from? Hold on. Have we covered this person before? Have we covered them before? Their author, Walt Heyer Ministries, Rethinking Transgenderism. They're an American author, and apparently they are an activist and speaker who underwent gender reassignment surgery, lived for 8 years as a trans woman before detransitioning in 1991. She was born in 1940 in Los Angeles. As a child, I don't care about most of this. Honestly, we got a bibliography here. They made a 2019 opinion column in USA Today that was cited as one of the paper's 10 most read articles of the year and generated multiple published letters in response. The column, let's see here. In June 2020, YouTube removed a video of a Heritage Foundation panel that include wow, it's on the Heritage Foundation payroll. My God. What an amazing time to be alive. Hey, it cited hate speech guidelines for removing it, which was criticized by various conservative media outlets like the Christian Post and National Review, because of course they are. So Hayer's story is detailed in the 2018 book When Harry Became Sally. The now defunct progressive news website Think Progress criticized the book for overemphasizing detransition, for creating a career for himself of advocating against transgender equality based on his ex-trans narrative. Okay, so I remember you. So this is basically a person who has built a career of saying, this is my experience with being trans or not being trans. You write the book on that. Don't fucking care. And what they've decided to do with that is say that this is how everybody is. This is how it is for everybody. Everybody who is ever trans ever has gone through exactly what they went through, except that's not the case. A lot of people's trans journeys are completely different from each other. They have some similarities, but not all the same. Some trans people figure it out because they experience an intense form of gender euphoria. Some people figure it out because of dysphoria on the other end. In fact, actually, more people than not experience that one. It's why we started doing medical research into transitioning in the first place, to try to alleviate those things. Some people go through surgeries. Some people don't. Some people feel pressure from their peers. Some people don't. It's amazing how it is. The human experience, varied as it is. This is the type of person that tries to speak for conservative think tanks and make them all agree that every trans experience is the same and they are all faking it. I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, I have plenty of friends who are trans, and I can't think of any of them really who were faking it so much. And I don't know. Maybe I have a different perspective now as somebody who's, dating somebody who's trans. But I don't think she's faking it really either. And not in any way. But okay. Sure. Why not? Walt Hire, everybody.
It's the same thing.
Sweetie, please.
No. I need you to leave. Evie, no.
Where are you getting this from?
We're just masquerading.
When did parents become enemy number one?
This is all
I mean, parents aren't really enemy number one in any meaningful way, but okay, sure.
coming from the top, the major corporation.
Parents aren't real. Hi. Oh, wow, that's not where that's supposed to be for that. Hello.
Hello.
That was unplanned. Hi.
Just like most of kids in America.
Yeah, like me. No, I'm doing a topic real quick while I'm waiting on steak to thaw. I have broccoli in butter that is currently on low heat. I have some mashed potatoes that are heating up as well. So I'm getting all of that done. I want to throw the steaks, venison steaks, on the grill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to heat up the grill?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, Gigi.
Oh, little creature.
Hi, Gigi. Come on. Come on. Hello. To corporations, they're trancing by kids. Always. Always, always. Apparently.
I was
Okay.
muted for like 3 minutes and no one told me. I was muted a lot longer than that.
Oh. Jesus Christ. So the thinking is I'm kind of anti-parent in a way. I'm anti-parents thinking they own and control children. So this is the struggle that happens every generation, right? Every generation has something that happens that kids want to be able to do and parents rebel against. A few generations ago, it was miscegenation. It was kids who were black and white wanting to get together and parents deciding that that's just not the way things were done back in my day, so I don't want you to do that. But that's not really how human beings operate. You love who you're going to love, which leads into the next thing. Some kids realized they were gay or bi or pan, and they wanted to explore that. And then parents had to figure out how they were going to handle that one. And, That's where we got all of the really, really homophobic, it's just a phase. You're just going through a phase. Or, you know, for people who are bi or pan, you just can't make up your mind when really you just kind of like penis and vagubu equally. More on that later. So, every single generation, there is something that parents end up grappling with that is not the norm for when they were growing up, but kids are doing more now, and it's just how it's going to be till the end of time, right? What we need to focus on is not whether or not it was something that was done back in your day when you were a kid. We need to focus on whether or not it is harmful. And let's see here. Dating a black person, not harmful. Being gay, not harmful. And, oh, as it turns out, being trans, not harmful. Weird how that works.
Governments, politicians.
You have a pipeline. It's also in the education system.
So today we're gonna talk a bit about genders. We are here to support you.
I feel like
Docudrama. Okay, so it's reality TV's bastard cousin.
couldn't breathe. My aching body.
Okay, why? What? So, what are we supposed to be looking at right now in terms of this trailer, right? So, we've seen the bits of the trailer that are showing us that there's going to be, quote, experts who are going to be talking about this. We've shown people who are talking in the dramatized version of this, but who is this character here?
Fell to the floor.
Who are these people that we're focusing on? Why do these characters matter? Are these the characters? Are these the fake experts? Like which one are
I've
they?
talked to hundreds, if not thousands of parents. Our stories are all the same.
No, the fuck they're not. You can pretend they are, but as somebody who has friends who are parents of kids who are gender non-conforming in a variety of ways, the story is not always the same. But, you know, if you have just a bunch of conservative parents, maybe you're going to pretend your stories are all the same, because that's way easier.
I told my parents if I wasn't allowed to transition, I would be at risk of suicide.
This was a group where they basically gathered vulnerable children and taught them that it was us against them.
Would you rather?
Okay, so let me go ahead and offer a bit of a correction there. So if you are a child and you realize you are trans, there is a chance that your parents will not like that. If your parents do not like that and you still realize that you are trans, then, I wonder what's going to happen. There's going to be a conflict. Us versus them with children and parents is also a normal thing that has happened in every generation across the fucking timeline because of a variety of things. Again, if this were a few generations ago, this would be a propaganda piece about the problems of dating black men. If this were a few generations after that, this would be about people being forced to be gay. And, you know, now we're here, it's about the trans kids. Do you know the rate of detransition? Do you know what the rate of detransition is? It's less than 1%. This is to say that, yes, there are people who realize they are trans early on and go on to have happy and healthy lives as trans people, and then there are a small percentage of people who don't actually go further. Like they realize, oh shit, maybe I'm not trans, and then they decide to detransition. It's less than 1%, but those people do exist, and they do matter. Bane of Motor says, I mean, to be fair, parents who are skeptical do end up being treated as enemy number one. Like in Canada, you can be fired for misgendering. You can be fined for misgendering. No, Bane of Motors, you don't get fined for misgendering in Canada. You're talking about Bill C-16, where everybody freaked the fuck out that misgendering was going to lead to fines and arrests, and then that didn't happen. Weird how that worked. Let's see here. People who are skeptical, enemy number one. I can understand it feeling that way, but again, this is exactly what would have happened with kids dating a black kid or kids realizing they were gay. Like, that is a thing that, again, has happened every single generation, and there's going to be something that people freak out about 20 years from now that's going to be different, and there's going to be another thing 20 years from now that's going to be different as well. It turns out, people who are progressive early in life tend to keep their ideologies later in life, but there tends to always be blind spots based on when they were born. And so, as a result, when they get older, as they age, society progresses past them, and they become the new conservatives. This is why when people say you get more conservative as you get older, that's not really the case. It's more that what is progressive and what is conservative shifts further and further along a scale. And some people move with it, and some people don't. Said these parents have nowhere to turn to, so we can turn them to our side. By and large, the easiest way to do that, this is why on my channel I try to make a point to tell people, hey, don't call people the enemy, don't demonize them, talk with them, sit down, have conversations with people, especially have conversations with people of a different political bent than you. Because if you actually want to change the world around you, and you accept the fact that there are people around you who are different and have different ideas, but you think yours are right, then maybe sit down and have a conversation. You might find that they're right. You might find that you're right. They might change their mind. You might change yours. I implore people of different political persuasions, talk with each other, as opposed to listening to your Shapiros and Walshes exclusively. Please. But moving on with this fun thing.
They have a dead daughter
Or a living son.
That question is asked over and over again, and therapists are trained to say that.
Therapist, hold on.
That it was us against them.
Would you rather have a dead daughter
Or a living son.
That question is asked over and over again, and therapists are trained to say that.
Well, you know why they're trained to say that, right? The therapist's job when talking with you is to help you cope with whatever decision your kid makes. Right? Okay, let's go ahead and talk about this for a second. If you are the parent, do you know how much control you have over what your kid does? Especially later in life, like after they hit 16, 17, 18. Do you know how much control you have? It slips further and further away from you with every single year. Every passing heartbeat of yours is a heartbeat where you lose less control of your kid. This is not a bug. This is a feature. This is them becoming adults. This is them getting older. This is normal. So what happens, right? What happens when you fight desperately for them not to explore these things? Well, a couple of things. One, it becomes taboo, and it becomes something that now they want to explore even more. So even if they find out that they're not trans, they may just keep doing it as an act of rebellion. What happens instead when you let them explore these feelings? Let them explore them. Well, they might come out the other side detransitioning, or they might come out the other side trans. Who knows? But if you let them explore these things, let them dress how they want, let them talk how they want, let them address themselves how they feel more comfortable. How much power are you really relinquishing doing these things? The reality is not a whole lot, right? You still have control over what they eat, you still have control over curfew, you still have control over making them do their homework, you still have control over when they are able to do certain things inside the house. It makes sense. Instead of trying to tell a therapist, here are strategies you can use to control your child more, which is a losing fucking battle. Instead, the therapist is going to be trained to tell the parent, here is a coping mechanism you can use regardless of what decision your child makes. If your child decides to transition, then you have a living child. If your child chooses not to transition, then you supported them while they thought it was a thing that they wanted to do. This is like if your kid decides they want to be on the chess team, and you're like, nope, you ain't allowed to be on the chess team. You're going to be a football player for life. No, don't do that. You're just going to breed resentment in your kid. Let them explore this thing that is an aspect of their identity. Let them figure it out. They may come on the other side going, actually, no, I don't like that. Or they may come on the other side realizing, yeah, you did lose a daughter, and you gained a son. You made out a net nothing. Nothing changed in your life except the way you had to address them. And boy howdy, was that such a sacrifice, I guess. Miralana says they're trained to say that from conservatives who can only exist on a steady diet of thought-terminating cliches. It goes simpler than that, though, Miralana. It's not just like, look at what about you and your thought-terminating cliches. We all engage in thought-terminating cliches. It's more, what is the therapist supposed to say to the parent? Again, here's a strategy to control your child more. That's not going to work. It's better instead to give those parents a mechanism by which they can have a more healthy relationship with their kid. And because they have a more healthy relationship with their kid, regardless of what decision their kid makes, they're going to go through that life experience knowing that they have their parent at their back, which is way more important, infinitely more important than trying to control the decision for them. Again, every single year that child is yours, you will lose more and more control over them. And that's okay. Brodel says uptime counter isn't working. Yeah, it is. I've been on stream for 5 hours and some odd minutes. I know it's working. It's working fine.
It's destroyed my health.
Looking back, it made me feel even more hopeless.
And then I felt down, I felt tired, I felt exhausted.
Left half of my body shakes.
So, let's see, like, left my body shakes uncontrollably. You mean going through puberty again? This is what happens when you go through puberty again, my guy. Like, yeah, hormones are strong. They do things to you. This is normal. This is a thing hormones do. Like, just try a thing. Just imagine for a second. Just imagine what it's like for your body to have no hormones at all for a month or two, and then suddenly have testosterone flooding back into it, or estrogen flooding back into it. How do you think it's going to accept that? It's going to feel a bit weird. Yeah, no, duh. Like, every single person I've talked to who's gone on HRT, male to female transition, has pointed out that their strength got sapped away. It ate them alive, strength-wise, because the testosterone blockers and the combination of the testosterone blockers and the estrogen, however they were using it, led to their body functioning closer to what a cis female's body would be, which is, by and large, not as prone to muscle mass. Especially because you tend to be... It's been up at 5 hours, 15 minutes since I showed up. And how long have you been here? Let's see how long it goes. You tend to see results in the body as its morphology changes that are more akin to what you expect from a cis person of the gender that they are going to. And those changes can be a wreck on your body. They can be. You will lose muscle mass if you do not exercise to try to keep every ounce of it that you can. And even then, you will lose a decent bit of it. This is one of the arguments the Olympics has used for keeping women, trans women in women's sports. Duh!
On its own uncontrollably.
I'll never be the same.
I was allowed to destroy my body.
They never talk about how much harm is being caused.
You know, Josh,
I mean, we do talk about how much harm is being caused. It's just sometimes we have a different definition of harm than you.
Club. He says our closest family are often our worst enemies.
it's separating kids from their parents.
The state has to...
It's not separating kids from their parents. The only people separating kids from their parents is the parents when they decide not to let their kids just exist, when they try to control their kids. That will make a kid separate themselves from their parents faster than anything.
It's decided that Evan should stay at a group home for now, for his safety.
You can hear me cry, see my dreams all die from where you're standing.
I wonder how much copyright cucking I'm going to get for this video. This is gonna suck.
On your own.
And then you show somebody going up to a train. Is that somebody waiting to get hit by the train? Is that somebody waiting to go on a train?
I miss you so much, Evie. Leave him alone.
Like, this is the most important question. Why are they all...
What? What? When does that... When does that one happen? When do you get the trans bodyguard who comes up and is like, "Hey, don't talk to my friend. You're not allowed to talk to my friend anymore. He's in the trans cult." And I don't think that one happens.
all doing this?
Why are they all doing this? My guy, there are less than 2% of people in the United States who are trans. Who is they all here? Y'all are 98% of the people! I'm of the people! Said it's sad for a parent to ruin their relationship with their kid for being confused. Right, because like when you figure out that your gender might not align right as a kid, everyone I've talked to about this, right? Everyone I've talked to about this has pointed out that the one thing that they needed was support. Because they were confused. They didn't know how things were operating in their head. They didn't know why they felt certain things. They didn't know why they saw certain things in the mirror when they looked at it, when they thought they were seeing themselves. Things didn't add up. And the one thing they needed was somebody to just hold them and say, it's okay. It's okay. That's the thing kids need at that age. Somebody to hold them and say, it's okay. You'll figure it out. You've got time. What do you need from me? Those words, more than anything you can tell somebody, those words will help you more in life than you know. And that's not just for like if you've got a kid who's trans or anything like that. That is, if you are in a situation of any variety and somebody is going through some shit, whether or not you understand the shit they're going through, give them a hug, let them know it's going to be okay, and let them know that you're there for them. And if they need anything, to just tell you. That alone, whether it is followed up by any deed of any kind afterwards, that alone will help more people than you trying to manipulate or control or steer them in any direction. You don't have access to their brain. They may go either way when it comes to a gender journey, whether they even go on a gender journey, or whether it's about them figuring out if they're gay, or if they want a new job, or if they want to quit school, or anything like that. Just standing behind them and letting them know, hey, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. What do you need? You can change somebody's goddamn life by doing that. And people don't do it enough. So, here we're gonna do a fun experiment. Okay? Also, Yum Broadbull, thank you for naming your points for an also, I see what you mean. That timer is stuck at 52 minutes, and that ain't good. But here's where I not only have to throw it back to people in the comment section, but I'm going to ask you guys, do you have... God damn it, Lisa Cadet Babbitt. You fucking degen! Do you guys have any instances where this has happened to you? You've been in a situation where you had no idea how to help somebody, and the one thing that actually got through to them was letting them know that you'd be there? Or... another thing, if you have not done this before, if you've not had a friend who's going through some shit somehow, and you do end up experiencing that, and you do take my advice, and you talk to that friend, and you let them know that you're going to be there, and just ask them, what do you need from me? Let me know how that goes. Go into the comments section. Remember this video's here. Hell, put it in a tab, and just, if you ever had that experience, then throw your story down there in the comment section so that I can read it. I do try to read every comment that comes my way on my channel, even if I don't respond to everything, because the YouTube Studio app is currently healthier for me than, Twitter is. So, let me know how that goes for you, and don't fall for goddamn propaganda. Hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and all that other fun stuff. Insert into video tagline here.